Hey everybody, it's Gabby, and I just want to do a quick video on transphobia in the queer community. Um, Being both bisexual and trans, it is something that I deal with quite often. I deal with monosexual people, i.e., lesbian or gay in the spectrum. So basically, what I wanted to go over is a few different points, but the first one and the most important one being trans women are women, trans men are men. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. We've gone really far through that. We are our gender. If you don't like that, it's not our problem. If you don't want to fuck somebody that's trans, that's totally on you. Like, we can find other people to fuck. So, that's the first thing. But basically, this conversation was brought to you by Zinnia Jones. I follow her on Twitter, and I did see a particular interaction between her and somebody on her feed, who quite literally stated that trans women are men, and it's false. That's incorrect, and I have a problem with it. This isn't like a PC thing. This isn't like a Tumblr thing. Like, seriously, this is how this works. I'm a woman. Trans men are men. That's just how it works. Some women have penises. Some men have vaginas. You just deal with it. If you don't like it, don't date a trans person. Don't fuck a trans person. That's cool. I don't care. Sorry. Plenty of fish in the sea. For some reason, people get caught up on that point. It's not a big deal. Like, in all honesty, and that's the thing. Just treat us like people. You don't have to want to be with us. That doesn't make us less of what we are. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just a sore subject for me in general. So I kind of ramble on that. But moving forward, yeah, it's fuck all the time. Seriously. But basically, the next thing that I do want to go through is honestly being cis passing or being cis in general is definitely a privilege. Anytime you get brought up in trans conversation, check your fucking privilege when you walk through the door, because we don't get that. Someone like me, being a trans woman, I don't have cis passing privilege. I can't walk into a bathroom and use the bathroom without somebody trying to call the cops because of who I am. Like, I literally can't go to the bathroom in public without somebody having an issue with that. And it's something, the main issue I have is that that's something that everybody's been through, especially in our community, because 20 years ago it was gay people. Like, that was the issue. And now it's us. Like, we are the next target. And that's okay. We're pushing through that. We're making strides. But to have intentional misgendering from people in our own community is absolutely just terrible. It's one of the worst things. It makes you absolutely a terrible person. I'm sorry. Like, if it's ignorance, learn. If it's not ignorance, what the fuck is wrong with you, in all honesty? Because we go through so much. We have to deal with this from literally everywhere. I don't want to go into a place where I should be accepted and I'm not. We don't have all of those places. I don't have anywhere near me. I'm in the middle of Nebraska, central Nebraska at that. I can't even go to work as me. I get to do this in my spare time. So, I don't know. It's so much to deal with, and it's so much on top of everything else, and I just hate that cisgender people in the LGBT community can't seem to understand that. This isn't me fighting to be seen as a woman. This is me as a woman being like, hey, here I am. It's got depressing. It's got really depressing. This was supposed to be like uplifting and shit, but this got depressing. Like, shit got real. honestly, I don't know what to say anymore. I went from like angry to sad in like 3 minutes. I'm gonna cut some of this out. I don't know how much I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna not cut any of this out. And to me, this is super important because we have to deal with this from Mrs. Hud. Like this has had groups of people all the time. This is something I deal with on a regular basis. My boss actually just recently, well, my boss's boss was like, "Do transgenders really want to use the opposite bathrooms?" And I was like, "No, because I'm already a woman. Like I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't want to be cis. I want to be trans. That's who I am. You know, I can't control that. I like being trans. You know, I know a lot of cool trans people that I really enjoy knowing and I really love talking to. And I wouldn't have met them without that. But at the same time, like being able to pass as cis in the correct gender, of course, would be a blessing. I mean, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. You know, I wouldn't have to worry about going to the bathroom or dealing with people at work or getting called a faggot or a sissy or whatever because of who I am. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a man. Like, you're holding me to the standard because you assume the word cis in front of everything. When people talk about real women or real men, it's an implied cis there. Because I'm already a woman, I'm a trans woman. A man doesn't want to turn into a woman. That's not something that happens. But a woman who feels in the wrong body absolutely would do that. That's something she would do because she wants to feel more comfortable with herself. And that's how I am. That's how every trans person I know is. We want to be on hormones. We want to have those changes. We want to feel like ourselves, feel home in our own body. Like before I started hormones, I literally felt like a husk, like a shell, like I wasn't anything. And now I have emotions. I feel great. It's not just sad and depression all the time. It's like I can live. I can see the future. Fuck. Just you. I don't know you. Maybe I do know you. Maybe you're somebody I follow that I like. I'm not talking to you. You're awesome. Keep being you. But honestly, like, if you're cisgender, especially if you're in the LGBT community, please, please, please don't spread misinformation. Don't ever say that a trans woman is a man, because that's false. That's empirically false. That's scientifically false. That's not a true statement at all. And we don't need more lies spread about us. Honestly, a man wouldn't do this. This is not something a man would do. I'm human, I'm a person. I have life experiences. I'm me, I love being me. And I hope I get to do this more often. But it hurts so much to hear people say things like that, especially people who should know better. Because they know what it feels like, to an extent. These people are never going to understand what we go through, and that's okay. But at the same time, this is something, seriously, it's very important that you understand, especially before coming to Pride, that we have to deal with so much on a daily basis. From, just little things like newspaper articles about bathrooms. Little things like that that'll trigger so much inside of us. Because what that makes us realize is that a large percentage of the country wants us dead. you know, or doesn't even think we exist, or thinks that we're all serial killers or rapists or pedophiles, when we're just people, you know? And these are things that we shouldn't have to deal with from people from the LGBT community. Ever. Like, you know, I get not being attracted to trans people, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of other trans girls for us to talk to. But at the same time, you know, respect us. If you don't know somebody's pronouns, maybe go up to them and tell them yours. That gives them an opportunity to give you theirs. Or if you just don't know, they works well. Don't assume that you know somebody's gender identity because you see them. Because that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. And honestly, like, from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that everybody gets past this. Like, it's such a small issue, I think. Because, honestly, like, why is sex such a big deal? A lot of us don't even want. I don't know. I got sad. I got really sad. I cried a little bit. But I guess basically what I'm trying to say is, please, for the love of God, stop being transphobic. At least unintentionally. Like, if you mean to do it, you're gonna be an asshole, and that's totally fine. Like, I can't stop you from being an asshole. But if you don't know, like, for whatever reason, if you think that trans women are men, and you firmly believe that, and it's stemming from a place of ignorance, please educate yourself. I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that in an honest, please educate yourself. Because there's so much more. There's so much more. And there's no reason to be held back by things like that. Honestly. But I guess I'm done with this crying, rambling bullshit. And I'll do another one of this later. But yeah, that was my piece.